Have you ever noticed how the most powerful person in the room is often the one who says nothing? They do not shout. They do not beg to be heard. They simply withdraw. And in that withdrawal, the entire energy of the room shifts. People start to question themselves. They start to chase. They start to feel the weight of that silence. Now, imagine if you did the same. Imagine if you stopped reacting. Imagine if, instead of the automatic explosion of anger or the desperate need to explain yourself, you chose the Stoic retreat. What would happen? The ancient Stoics knew a secret that we have forgotten in our noisy world. He who cannot be provoked cannot be controlled. When you are always available emotionally, physically, mentally, you are not being kind. You are being enslaved. You are telling the world that you have no walls, no gates, and no guards. You are teaching people that they can control you through your reactions. But the day you choose to withdraw into your inner citadel, the game changes. Those who thought they held your strings will realize they are holding nothing but air. Seneca said, "The greatest remedy for anger is delay." But it is more than just delay. It is unavailability. It is the conscious choice to remove your consent from the chaos. In this video, we are not turning our backs on the world. We are turning inward to the only place you can ever truly rule. We are going to explore why your availability is destroying you and how the Stoic art of silence can rebuild your power. Part 1. The Puppet and the Master. You have been trained to be a puppet. From childhood, you were taught that to be good meant to be responsive, to jump when called, to explain when questioned, to justify your existence to anyone who asked. You have been conditioned to believe that your worth lies in your utility to others. But the Stoic teacher Epictetus would look at your life today and ask you a devastating question. How long will you remain a slave? You might say, "I am free." But are you? If a rude comment can ruin your day, you are a slave to that comment. If a text message can make your heart race with anxiety, you are a slave to that sender. If you feel compelled to say yes when your soul screams no, you are a slave to approval. This excessive availability is not a virtue, it is a vice. It makes you predictable. And in the eyes of the world, what is predictable is cheap. People begin to use you as an emotional tool. They press a button, guilt, fear, obligation, and you react. You function exactly as designed, but you don't see it. You think that by being there for everyone, someone will eventually be there for you. You think this is duty. But Marcus Aurelius warned us about this. He spoke of the difference between social duty and losing your own mind. He said, "Nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul." When you are always on the outside, living for the reactions of others, you have abandoned your post. You have left the fortress of your mind unguarded. You explain, you defend, you apologize. You pour your limited time, which Seneca called our most precious and non-renewable resource, into a bucket with a hole in the bottom. The more available you are, the less respect you command. It is a law of nature. Scarcity creates value. Abundance creates indifference. If your time and attention are free for everyone, they are worth nothing to anyone. So ask yourself, who actually deserves access to your inner citadel? Who has earned the right to your peace? Part 2. The Drain of the Soul. Stoic Economy. Why do we do this? Why do we give ourselves away so cheaply? The Stoics would say it is because we do not value our own ruling faculty, our hegemonicon. We treat our mind like a public park where anyone can walk in, leave their trash, and walk out. Seneca wrote extensively about the shortness of life. He observed that men are miserly with their money. They guard their gold with locks and keys. But when it comes to their time and their mental energy, they are the most wasteful prodigals in the world. You give your peace to a rude stranger. You give your mental energy to a toxic family member. You give your anxiety to a news cycle you cannot control. Every time you react impulsively, you are spending a currency you cannot get back. When you defend yourself against a criticism that is false, you have lost. Why? Because you engaged. You validated the attacker by showing them that their words had enough weight to move you. Epictetus said, "If someone succeeds in provoking you, realize that your mind is complicit in the provocation." Think about that. You are an accomplice to your own exhaustion. People who live drained are not good people. They are vulnerable people. And vulnerability without boundaries attracts predators. Narcissists and manipulators do not look for strength. They look for open doors. They look for the person who cannot sit in silence. They look for the person who needs to fix everything. When you cannot guard your own mind, you become a resource for others to consume. They notice that you react to everything. They notice that you have no filter between stimulus and response, and they will feed on that. To reclaim your power, you must learn the Stoic discipline of assent. You must stand at the gates of your mind like a guard. When an impression comes, an insult, a request, a crisis, you do not let it in immediately. You stop it. You ask, "Is this up to me? Is this necessary? Does this deserve my energy?" If the answer is no, you withdraw. You do not fight it. You simply let it pass, like a cloud in the sky. This is not weakness. This is the ultimate strength. Part 3. The mirror of silence. Here is where we enter the most uncomfortable territory. The reaction of others to your new silence. When you stop reacting, you break the contract. You break the unwritten agreement that said, "You push and I move." Have you noticed how some people panic when you don't respond? When you don't defend yourself? When you simply look at them, calm and unbothered? They don't panic because they miss you. They panic because they have lost control. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily that he would meet meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, and deceitful people. But he also reminded himself not to be angry with them, because they act out of ignorance. They do not know good from evil. But here is the twist. When you engage with them, you become like them. When you argue with a fool, there are two fools. Your silence is a mirror. When you withdraw, when you become unavailable to their drama, you force them to sit with themselves. You force them to hear their own echo. And for a person who is empty inside, there is nothing more terrifying than their own echo. They will try to provoke you. They will accuse you of being cold, distant, or arrogant. They will try to pull you back into the mud. This is the test. Are you ready to be misunderstood? The Stoics taught that the opinion of others is indifferent. It is not good. It is not bad. It is just noise. If you require the world to understand your silence, you are still a slave to the world. You do not need to explain your withdrawal. Your absence explains itself. Part 4. The solitude of the strong. What happens when you cut the strings? What happens when you retreat into the inner citadel? At first, it is quiet, uncomfortably quiet. You might feel a phantom limb, the urge to reach out, to check, to fix, to please. You might feel the guilt that society has planted in you. But stay in the fortress. Seneca said, "The proof of a disciplined mind is the ability to stop and be with itself." This is the goal, not isolation, but self-sufficiency. The Stoic does not need the world to validate his existence. He is content with his own reason. He is content with his own virtue. In this space of withdrawal, you stop being a reactor and you become a creator. You cease to be shaped by circumstances and you begin to shape your own character. You will lose people. Let them go. The people who fall away when you set boundaries are the people who were only there to cross them. You are not losing friends. You are losing parasites. You will be called strange. Let them talk. The sheep always fear the wolf who walks alone. This journey of withdrawal, of conscious unavailability, is the path to freedom. When you say no to the demands of the world, you are saying yes to your own soul. When you withdraw from a toxic environment, you are reaffirming that your tranquility is the highest good. It is time to stop being the emergency button for everyone else. It is time to stop being the sponge that absorbs the world's emotions. You owe nothing to anyone but your own character. So, I ask you, are you willing to pay the price for this freedom? Are you willing to be disliked? Are you willing to be silent when everything in you wants to scream? Because it is in that silence that you will find the one thing you have been looking for all along: yourself. If you are ready to stop reacting and start living, if you are ready to build your inner citadel, write in the comments, "I choose my peace." Stay strong, stay grounded, and remember, the most powerful presence is often the one that is not available to everyone. See you in the next video.